Hi, this is Carl Rust, and I've worked in schools for over 30 years. I've learned a lot about how people learn, and I wrote a book called Get Out of the Way and Let Kids Learn: How We Can Transform Schools and Reintroduce Natural Learning. Hey, everybody, welcome to Get Out of the Way and Let Kids Learn podcast. It's been a while since I've recorded one of these, but I decided it was time to get back into the swing. And so today, I think I'm just going to do a short little um, catch up of what I've been doing. And then next time, I think I'll do nature deficit disorder. So I've been doing a lot of subbing in and out of classrooms. I've been gravitating towards the special ed / intervention assignments because that tends to be small groups. I'm not in charge of a classroom. I've done a few classrooms and it's been okay. But I find myself less in a position of having to be coercive to younger people when I'm in a more of a support role instead of the classroom teacher who's supposed to be in charge and telling everybody what to do. Um, Schools are in trouble. It's definitely apparent if you spend any time in schools, you can tell. Struggling, and I think I was thinking about this morning because sometimes we just had a neighboring school district basically firing their superintendent. And we've had changes here in Elkhart of superintendent. I know that's happened in other places, but it's not change of superintendent is not going to solve the problems. And at varying times, we try to blame teachers, or we blame parents, or we even blame the kids. We blame technology. We blame COVID. That's for schools not working, but it's the system that doesn't work. And until we change the system, I think we're going to keep getting the same results. And as I've said before, the system works for a certain percentage. I don't think it works well for anyone, but it works okay for some people because some people are just survivors and adapters and they navigate. No matter what obstacles you put in their way, they're going to figure out how to get around and get what they need from life in general. But there's some that don't, and they tend to it tends to come out as maybe it looks like attention deficit. They can't pay attention. They're scattered. They don't have any focus, too much energy. They want to get up and run around. Or maybe it comes out as behavior, disrupting, being mean to adults and other kids, um, not cooperating, not doing their work. And when they get called on that, they become explosive and they have all these behaviors. So I was thinking, I don't know if I'll be able to put this diagram on the screen. And I've got, I'll I'll scan it and put it up there. It's my own little scratching. It's hard to read. But I was thinking about the whole uh, different levels of learning and different kinds of schools and how some situations are better than others. Nothing is perfect. And what I've got is kind of a line that's kind of like um, kind of the line of no return. Well, it's not no return because you can always return. It's kind of the line between optimal is up here and disaster is down at the bottom. To me, homeschools are always going to be above the line for the most part. I mean, there's a few situations that are not good, but most homeschools are going to operate. And I think on one of my podcasts, one of my guests said, you flattened all the layers of authority. So there's usually only the kid and the teacher, and that's it. There's nobody from outside that's coming in telling them what to do. So it's negotiated between them. Now the teacher could still be authoritarian and just insist that they're going to have their way, but there's more of a communication. And whatever those two parties decide is what's going to happen. Sometimes there's progressive schools that are kind of operating, they're doing a lot of good things. They're at least collaborating with the learners, they're offering different things. And again, sometimes in the progressive situation, maybe it's a private or some kind of a co-op, the authority level is flattened out. So there's usually not much above the teacher and the kid. And then you have self-directed, which to me is the optimal way of learning. And there's different levels of self-direction. So, and I've got a sun up here in the corner. It's in nature and natural, open to change, flexible to meet needs. And I've got a little cloud that says, do no harm. Now, if we could adopt that in any educational setting, things would improve immediately. Do no harm. So if you see a kid that's struggling, what can you do to help them without uh, exacerbating the situation or the problem? So I see a kid that doesn't want to do a math paper. Do I try to make them do the math paper? Do I maybe offer them some assistance with the math paper? Or do I just let them work it out? Or do I give them an alternate activity? There's lots of ways I could do no harm, but maybe putting my thumb down and saying, you will finish this, or you won't go to recess, or I'm going to call your mom, or all those coercive tactics. We'll send you to the office, whatever it is. That can be harmful. It makes the situation worse. So how can we look for ways to make the situation better, do no harm? Then kind of under the level, maybe it's a water, I don't know, underwater level is most conventional schools. A lot of them are not terrible, and they have little pockets of good things happening, but it's inconsistent, and there's lots of authoritarian, there's lots of no talking, there's lots of sit down and be quiet, there's lots of get your work done. And then you have underwater schools, which are just horrible. And unfortunately, those tend to be in big cities and with poverty areas. Been a lot of experimentation with kids that come from poverty, and they can respond well to a different system if it's offered to them. But a lot of times you'll find underwater schools are more authoritarian and more coercive and more, let's just suspend them, kick them out, whatever it is. Um, that's kind of my diagram that I've been thinking about for a while. And like I said, I'll put an image up and maybe I'll link a copy. So thanks for listening to my little tirade, my little update. Next time I will talk about nature deficit disorder and how it affects kids and adults. Boy, let me read my little. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe so you can be notified each time a new episode comes out. Check out my book, Get Out of the Way and Let Kids Learn, How We Can Transform Schools and Reintroduce Natural Learning. A couple of podcasts I recommend are Liberated Podcast with Carrie McDonald and Fair the Free Child with Akila Richards. Check out my band, The Rush Show, at therushshow.com and on all streaming platforms. Thanks for listening, and remember, get out of the way and let kids learn. This has been Get Out of the Way and Let Kids Learn podcast. If you liked it, please subscribe, follow, share, and leave a comment.